Storming of Bristol 1643. The storming of Bristol, which took place in July 1643, was a crucial event in the early stages of the English Civil War. It was a key royalist victory that significantly strengthened the position of King Charles I in the western part of England. The battle was fought for control of Bristol, a strategic port city, and its capture had far-reaching implications for the ongoing conflict between the Royalists and Parliamentarians. Background and context. Bristol, located in the southwest of England, was an important city both for its economic value as a port and its strategic location. It provided a vital link to the sea, allowing the movement of supplies and troops, which made it a prime target for both the Royalist and Parliamentarian forces. In 1643, the Royalists, led by King Charles I, had gained control of most of the southwest and were looking to consolidate their position by capturing key cities like Bristol. The Parliamentarians, under the command of Sir William Waller and other leaders, had managed to hold on to the city since 1642, and its loss would significantly weaken the Parliamentarian hold over the region. The siege. The siege of Bristol began in the summer of 1643, with the Royalists under Prince Rupert of the Rhine, one of King Charles's most trusted commanders, leading the assault. Prince Rupert's forces, bolstered by experienced Royalist troops, surrounded the city and began to lay siege to it. The Parliamentarians inside Bristol, commanded by Nathaniel Fiennes, son of a prominent Parliamentarian leader, faced difficulties in holding the city. They were significantly outnumbered, and the Royalists had the advantage of better resources and military leadership. The defenders of Bristol had fortified the city and its walls, but they lacked the necessary supplies and reinforcements to mount a sustained defense. The storming and capture. After several weeks of bombardment and skirmishing, the Royalist forces launched a final assault on July 10, 1643. The Parliamentarian defenders, exhausted and demoralized, were unable to resist the Royalist offensive. The Royalists breached the city's walls and poured into Bristol, overwhelming the defenders. Nathaniel Fiennes and his forces were forced to surrender, and the city fell into Royalist hands. Aftermath and significance. The capture of Bristol marked a major victory for King Charles I and his forces. Bristol was an important economic and strategic asset, and its loss to the Parliamentarians would have been a serious blow. With the city under Royalist control, the Royalists now had access to the sea, which allowed them to secure vital supplies and reinforcements. The fall of Bristol also represented a significant setback for Parliament, as it lost one of its key strongholds in the west. The defeat weakened the Parliamentarian cause in the region, and it took the Parliamentarians some time to regroup and mount a counteroffensive. However, despite the success at Bristol, the Royalists were unable to capitalize fully on their victory. King Charles I failed to press his advantage and could not decisively end the war. The English Civil War would continue for several more years, with both sides experiencing victories and setbacks. Legacy. The storming of Bristol remains one of the notable engagements of the early English Civil War. While it was a clear Royalist victory, it was not the decisive turning point the Royalists had hoped for. The war continued to drag on, with the Parliamentarians gaining momentum in later years, especially after key victories at Marston Moor, 1644, and Naseby, 1645. Despite its importance, the capture of Bristol illustrated the volatility of the English Civil War. Control of key cities could change hands quickly, and both sides were constantly vying for control of important regions. Ultimately, the war would continue for another several years, but the fall of Bristol in 1643 remains a pivotal moment in the Royalist campaign.